And we are live. Hi everyone, welcome to another really exciting episode of Rebel TV. The title of today's episode is The Business Partner You Didn't Know That You Needed. This is really critical, guys, for your business, not just for your business though, but for your life. So we'll get into what that means exactly, what exactly we're talking about, revealing the mystery in just a couple minutes. First, I wanted to introduce myself and my lovely guests. I'm Sarah Kay. I am a Rebel marketer. I'm also a mom, and I dabble in project management. And my guests today are Jen and Francine. So why don't you guys go ahead and just give a brief introduction of yourselves. We can start with you, Jen.
Hi guys, this is Jen, and I am too a Rebel marketer and a blogger. I'm actually the mommy at the breakfreefamily.com, and you guys can come and check me out whenever you want. And Francine, hop on over to you.
Hi, I'm also a Rebel marketer and blogger and a mum. And you can find me at the .commoms.com if you want to come and check out what I'm doing.
Awesome. So that's kind of cool. Like, we all have this thing in common. So I know not all of you Rebel marketers that are watching and all of you guests have that in common, but what we're talking about today, you're definitely going to want to listen to. So now for the big reveal. The business partner you didn't know that you absolutely needed for your business or possibly for other areas of your life is an accountability partner. I know that doesn't sound as exciting as you maybe expected it to be, but bear with us because we're going to talk about why that is absolutely critical and must-have for your business. I guess to start it off, we all have our own ways of holding ourselves accountable or not. I think usually that's not something that people think about consciously, and that's mistake number one, is not consciously thinking about how to hold yourself accountable to your goals, whether it's business or personal or other. So for starters, just thinking about it, and having another person actually step in and work with you, I think just makes the process way smoother. We have other tools that we use all the time that we think are really good, to-do lists, calendars, technical tools on our computer and stuff like that that probably does help us. I'm not saying it doesn't help. I'm just saying it doesn't even come close, I don't think, to having an accountability buddy. So I want to hand over the stage or microphone, so to speak, to our guests. Jen, do you have any additional thoughts just on the overall concept of an accountability buddy, why it's so important?
Yeah, I kind of do. I think we get lost in the concept that, well, if I have a to-do list, I'm not going to need it, and I'm really bad about this. I thought for years I didn't need an accountability partner. I just needed my to-do list, and as long as I was checking stuff off, I must be getting stuff done. But, you know, with an accountability partner, you have somebody that can go in and say, really, is that really your best work? You know, you need a good swift kick in the ass, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's, you know, that's the truth. There comes a time where, you know, there comes a time where you're just like phoning it in, and sometimes when you have an accountability partner, somebody else there, they can say, really, come on, you can do better than this. What do you think, Francine?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think an accountability partner, certainly my experience is crucial, because I think I am fairly good at holding myself accountable when it comes to a lot of things in my life. More personal goals in my life, I'm fairly good at keeping myself accountable to. I don't know why that is, but like you said, you know, I'm great at making these lists, and I think if I'm able to check a few things off in a day, then I think I'm doing great and I'm doing enough. Whereas, you know, when I look at the bigger picture and where I am and where I want to be, I do realise that, you know, I'm perhaps not quite doing as much as I need to be doing.
That's something that I want to pinpoint and touch on specifically at this point, is we usually have to-do lists when we have a goal or something like that. But the other thing that an accountability buddy or a partner does is not just make sure that you check those things off, but helps you to make sure that those are the right things on the list. And that's something that people don't often think about, especially when you're trying to be consistent in your business. You're like, okay, I need to do the same thing over and over and over again. And not all of us always take the time to constantly, or at least on a regular basis, reevaluate that, yes, those are the right things on the list. That is what's going to get me towards my goal. And of course, when you have a goal, right, the point is to grow. You're getting somewhere that you're not already. And so your action items or your to-do list needs to reflect that. Do you guys have any additional thoughts on that specifically?
Well, I was going to say, in the Rebel Marketers, we actually have this thread that we put up every day for accountability. And people go in and they post the things that they've done to help grow their business. But one of the things that I've kind of noticed in that, and I am so totally owning it here, I'm really bad about it, is I see we do the same things over and over. And we're not doing things that are helping us grow, like you talked about. We're not stepping further outside our bounds. I mean, there are people on there that have been doing the same thing for 60 days in a row. And they haven't stepped outside that boundary to try and do something else, or at least list that they've tried to do something else, besides the same 5 or 10 things that they've been doing every day. And, you know, like when you're talking about growth, how are we going to get to that point, and how are we going to be able to show everybody else what we're doing and how we're growing, and have somebody give us feedback if we're not sharing that stuff?
Yeah, I don't want to downplay consistency in doing the important tasks over and over again, but like you said, that's really not enough. Because once you've done something repeatedly and consistently, and you know that you can do it, you need to reevaluate that it is actually working for you and pulling you closer to those goals. So what I want to talk about next is the different ways that an accountability partner can help you do this. So could you guys share, Francine, maybe you can share some of your experiences with successful and then maybe not so successful accountability practices?
I haven't really had too many personal experiences of having an accountability partner, but for myself, tough love works. I respond well to tough love, so I do just like a good old kick up the arse, and you know I respond quite well to that. I don't take it personally or you know, get offended by that, and I think. You know, it's different strokes for different folks. You know, some people kind of like others to go around the houses with things before they actually get to, you know, telling the person, you know, what they think and what they really need to be doing. And I've totally forgot what the question was. I don't even know if I'm on track.
That was perfect. And a lot of people, I personally know a lot of people who are exactly like that, that you're generally good at holding yourself accountable, but you really need someone to be very firm and very straightforward with you and say, this isn't going to get you where you're going to go, or this is what I think, you know, because I think we'll talk in a couple minutes about maybe how to choose an accountability partner, at least some feedback that we can give on that. But that's really important. Now, I think it's important to point out that it doesn't have to be like that, because not everybody responds to that that tactic of holding yourself accountable or holding somebody else accountable. Like Jen, you said, sometimes you just need kind of a kick in the ass, and some people respond really well to that, and others not so much. And so I don't want to scare anybody out there if you need a gentler hand, but the important thing is to make sure that it does actually work, that you are actually listening to your accountability buddy. It's not just a friend who's patting you on the back. And actually, I want to hand over to Jen to talk a little bit about that. You said something earlier today that was totally spot on that topic. So go ahead and take it over.
Okay. Well, I was actually on Facebook, and I was watching one of my mentors, and he's somebody who kind of rubs me the wrong way sometimes, but I still watch his feed, and I read what he's got to post, because he has some really great ideas that, you know, that really do make you think and grow. And he was talking about accountability and the fact that people go around and they say they're going to do all these things, but they don't in the end do them. And so they do a lot of talking, but they don't actually follow through. And somebody was saying, well, you know, we shouldn't hold people accountable for what they say. And he put in this post about, you know, so it's okay to pussyfoot around and say basically, hey, it's okay that I won't hold you accountable for your integrity as long as you don't hold me accountable for mine. And I thought, man, you know, how freaking cool is that? Because it's true. It's so damn true. People go around and they talk stuff all the time, but they don't follow through. And who are we to sit around and say, oh, it's okay, you didn't follow through, just as long as you tell me it's okay, I didn't follow through. And I was that accountability partner. I was that person saying, oh, it's okay. Oh, you don't know how to do this. Let me show you how. I was the hand holder. I was the, oh, it's going to be all right. Oh, let's commiserate about all our crap. Let's commiserate about the crap we can't do because we're blah, blah. There has to be a point where you stop that. There has to be a point where you grow up, put your big girl panties on or your big boy panties on, and just get through it and start to grow, because otherwise you're not really here to do a job. You're here to have a hobby. And if you want to do that, that's great. Having a hobby and having something to do is fine. But if you are using this as a business or you're using this as a way to grow your life and become something different, then by damn it, you need somebody to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's spot on. And I've had a personal experience as well, trying to have a really good friend of mine hold me accountable, and it kind of worked because we're both sort of competitive, similar personalities, but in the end, it kind of fell apart because one of us kind of hinted that we really weren't up for the challenge, and the other one was kind of like, yeah, well, me neither, and so nothing happened, and neither of us accomplished our goal, and it was really terrible. So that's a good point. You know, you want someone who can actually give you the message in a way that you'll receive it, who's not just going to commiserate with you, because that's the other thing, is excuses don't get you anywhere, guys. If you're working towards a goal, you need to be taking action. Not saying that stuff isn't going to come up, but you got to get past it, you know, and you need to have somebody who can help you do that, not enable your whining, which I've, you know, everyone's done it. That's the point of getting an accountability partner, is to help you get over that. So we talked a little bit about what a good accountability partner is, in that it's someone who tells it to you in a way that you hear it, and they're very clear with you and honest with you about, is this going to make it to your goals? Obviously, you want to reciprocate that. I think I want to talk a little bit about the mechanisms that we can use to do that. And to expand on that a little bit more, I'll start. Currently, my business accountability buddy and I, we have just a weekly sync up on a Google Hangout just like this, so we can see each other, we can hear each other, and we can also share our computer screens if we're talking about some of the technology. But I want to hear from you guys too, what you think works, and some other ideas of ways that you can help keep each other accountable. Francine, why don't we go ahead and start with you?
Yeah. I think for me, checking in on a daily basis, I know it might seem like too much, but I think that is really important. Actually, I think it's important for anybody with an accountability partner, because, you know, we all need to be taking action every day, and it's so easy, as I'm sure yourselves as other mothers can relate to, for life to just take over and run away with you. And I think it's it's really important just to have that daily connection, even if it's just a quick check-in over Messenger or something, to just kind of see where each other's at, and, you know, help with any issues that might have come up during the day.
I totally agree with that. I'm one of those people that actually, you know, daily accountability is really important to me, because, you know, I have a list. I have that thing already written down of what I need to do, and I've decided, you know, in the last couple of weeks, I've made a really big decision, and I've started working towards that. And so it's really important for me, at least on a daily basis, to have somebody I can just, you know, say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Is it coming off that way? You know, is this, you know, have I taken on too much? Is it going in the right direction? Do I need to tweak somewhere? You know, because, you know, they always talk about when, you know, you ship off a rocket to the moon. You know, it's not on course when they send it off. They have to tweak its course the entire time that it's going there. And so I think an accountability partner gives us just another set of eyes to say, hey, you know, you went off course over here. I know you don't see it yet, but this is where that's going, and this is what I think you need to do.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. And to those of you who are watching, whether you're a rebel without an accountability buddy, or maybe your situation isn't working the way that you expected it to, or whether you're a viewer who's thinking about this topic, notice that not everyone's going to do it the same way. It's not a cookie cutter, situation where if you have an accountability partner, you have to do things this way, you have to check in this frequently, you have to use this medium. It's got to be unique to you and your partner so that it works. That's the only way you're going to find something that works, guys, is if you experiment, basically, and you need to make sure that your partner's on the same page too. So we have a few more minutes. I want to talk about that. So somebody I was talking to over the weekend was telling me a little bit about their situation, their accountability partner, and they are more or less on the same page as far as the progress that they've made in their business, and they have very similar goals. They're doing things in a sort of similar way, not exactly the same, but similar, and so that they can sort of bounce off each other. But we also talked about accountability partner dynamics where people are not at the same level, and how that could still work really well. Some people might be motivated, just to give an example, some people might be more motivated if their accountability buddy is much farther along, I guess, relatively speaking, in their business, so that they have something to strive for and to measure against in a sort of way. Of course, in a supportive way, not in a, you're beating yourself up sort of way. And then for some people, I think it's the opposite. For me, sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit more motivated if I know I have to show somebody, if I have to be a good example for somebody else. So in some situations, that works really well for me. So I want to hear more about that dynamic. Jen, do you have any additional thoughts? I saw you nodding, so I know you're thinking something.
Well, it's not so much the dynamic, and it kind of plays off on what we were talking about just a second ago, where we were talking about it's not cookie cutter. Well, we're talking about accountability and using it as a way to grow. Your accountability partner and the relationship you have with them is going to grow over time. It's going to look different. Maybe right now you're checking in every day, but maybe 6 months from now you guys only need to check in once a week, and you have this down pat, and you know how to make each other push each other, and then there may come a time where you outgrow each other because you are at the same level or whatever else, or you need somebody else to push you past this certain point. We talk about all the time about being like the 5 people we hang out with the most. Maybe you're going to grow, or they're going to grow, or whatever, and things happen. So just be prepared that everything is not always going to stay the same. Your accountability partner is going to be your accountability partner now, but that doesn't mean that just because they're your accountability partner, you stop holding yourself accountable as well.
That's an excellent point. Francine, can you add to that a little bit?
I guess just going back to what you were saying about the dynamics with it, I know for me, I work better if somebody is slightly ahead of me in what they're doing, because I do find it easier to keep myself motivated and accountable if they're almost like an example of something that I'm striving for as well. But on the flip side, I can see how it works in reverse as well, because I've never done it that way round, but I can see how it would work, and I would as well probably thrive off of that, because I do like to try and be a good example for others.
Yeah, and then to go back to what Jen was just saying, your accountability dynamic or situation is not going to stay the same forever, because we're trying to grow. We're trying to reach new heights and new goals, and I think just naturally what you're doing to get there is going to have to change with you, and your partner as well, because it's not just you, right? This is a two-piece system, basically. But I also want to add to that, and then we'll sort of wrap up on that, overall what we've been covering, is to say that you may not just have one accountability partner. You may have one for this area of your business, one for this area of your life. You may have more than one for different areas of your business. That's okay. The entire point is to have somebody else outside of yourself who can help you see what it is that you're doing and how that is or isn't helping you get where you want to go, to hold you accountable to your goals and what it is that you're trying to do. So it's really important, my closing thoughts, and I'll open up to you guys, is make sure that you understand what you need. And it's okay if you don't know that right away, but actually spend some time consciously thinking about that. You know, do I respond well to tough love? Do I need to meet every day? And it may be that you do. That's not a bad thing. You just need to really learn what works for you, what does actually hold you accountable instead of holding you back. So, Francine, do you have any closing thoughts for our lovely viewers today?
I think just following on from what you just said, not just about being clear about what you need, but also being clear about what you can do for somebody else. So can you give the other person what they need, and in order to hold them accountable? Yeah.
That's perfect. That's critical. Thank you for pointing that out. That's absolutely important. It's a partnership, guys.
Yeah.
Jen, closing thoughts?
My closing thoughts are this. We've been doing this our and we just don't even realize it. We have always had best friends. We've always had partners. We've had, you know, significant others and all of these other things in our lives. We've been playing the accountability game this entire time. And so we just need to re-examine those times where we held other people accountable so we know how we can help other people, and we need to look and examine those times when people held us accountable and what worked best for us so that we can tell and choose people that are going to help us do those things. It's not a scary thing to think about when you start thinking about finding an accountability partner. You just need to know what you have to offer and in turn what you need.
I don't think I could have said it better myself. That was perfect. Okay, so thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's episode of Rebel TV. Thank you to our Rebel marketers for joining us, and also guests. So to recap, just what we're doing here is every day, Monday through Friday, for about 20 minutes at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, we get together to mastermind, for all intents and purposes, about things that we can do to better ourselves. And sometimes it's business related and sometimes it's not, but ultimately it's to help you and to help ourselves as well. So I hope that you got value out of this. Actually, I'm sure that you did. If you are a guest and you're interested in learning more, please, I'm sure there's a button below. Get back with the person who invited you to this. They wanted you to hear it. Talk with them about it. And the call to action is think about where it is in your life that you're not holding yourself accountable. Find an accountability buddy. Just do it. That's all I have. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.